Welcome to yet another great episode of Compas F.C. I'm Fernando Ramirez, joined as always by JC Cervantes. JC, on the brick wall. Does that mean that your takes are brick walls and they can't be knocked down?
Yes, sir. Up like a wall. Solid.
Obviously from the red light district, Eddie Rodriguez. Eddie, what do you think of JC's background?
The password to that wall is 1234.
Joke's on you. Got a symbol.
Obviously, we're gonna start off with a little women's World Cup. Obviously, Team USA advanced to the round of 16. They went 0-0 with Portugal, and the big topic out of that game was the criticism by Carli Lloyd, who obviously she's won a couple of World Cups in her day. She's now an analyst for Fox. And guys, this is what she had to say after the game, because the players were celebrating, they were having fun and taking selfies with fans and all that. This is what Carli Lloyd had to say after that.
Something like that. There's a difference between being respectful of the fans and saying hello to your family, but dancing, smiling. I mean, the player of the match, that pose. You not be home right.
So obviously that's what Carli Lloyd had to say. Alexi Lawless before that had kind of said, "Man, if that was Carli Lloyd, I know she would go into that locker room stomping, throwing things, and saying, is that really how we're gonna behave?" And I thought, I don't know what. I'll start off with you, Eddie, but I thought her criticism was completely fair, especially because you had just tied Portugal 0-0. You didn't score. They've been kind of lackluster this whole World Cup, and you've heard the criticism. I've seen some fans on Twitter. I'm staying up until 1-2 in the morning for a 0-0. So what did you make of Carli's criticism?
It's fair. Do that if you comfortably won the group, but you didn't. The Netherlands won the group. You won one game and tied two. So what are you celebrating? You barely squeaked by. Portugal could have easily won that game, and you would have been knocked out of the World Cup, and you'd be singing a different tune. So, no, I think the criticism is justified. Seems like Carli Lloyd's been taking a book out of Roy Keane's pages there, and then, you do that after the World Cup. Do that after you win. I get it. You want to be respectful to the fans, and fan engagement is important, but not after a performance like that. That was a really lackluster performance, and they're lucky that they squeezed by.
And we all know, JC, that Carli has been one of the focal points of winning a World Cup. She's launched goals against Japan from distance. She's done she did a lot with that with the bars and stars. She's done a lot for Team USA. What did you make of what she had to say?
I'm not mad at her. I watched about 60 minutes of that game, and I was thinking the same thing. I was not watching a very engaged USA team, and I'm not mad at her for it. She has every right to go ahead and say those things because she was on the pitch last World Cup, right? And then really busting her ass to make sure that the USA team not only puts on a good performance but finishes top of the group, because that's another expectation for USA. It's essentially their cup to lose, right? And whenever they put up performances like that, they're just not really showing up the way they have to. And, the worst part of it all is when you're a player removed from one World Cup to another, it just hits you a little different. And, her emotions definitely got the best of her, but she's not wrong in saying these things for sure. Because definitely, if it were me, I'd say the same thing. I'd probably say far worse things, right? Get kicked off the TV. And, for a performance like that, do or die, and for you to just go out there and settle, they really did just settle for a tie. And that was the worst part of it all. USA definitely, wasn't playing their best football, and they were on the back foot for part of that game. And I can see where frustrations are coming from. It's going to be a tough next knockout game. So
it's funny. A lot of the criticism that they've been taking too is the fact that they took Megan Rapinoe instead of taking somebody else.
She's on the bench.
Yeah, she's just on the bench. It said they took her for her experience, but it's like, okay, why wouldn't you take somebody else that maybe could help, could energize the team, somebody younger? Because to be honest, I've seen some of the jumping around and celebrating, and there's one person that kind of starts all that stuff, and it is Megan Rapinoe that kind of starts it. So
Be careful, champ. Be careful.
I'm just saying. I mean, but this is what Carli Lloyd had to say after kind of sleeping on it. This is what she had to say on
after
Fox
they yelled at her.
Obviously, I was very critical of the team last night. I've had some time to reflect, sleep on it, and I will want people to understand that I care deeply about this team. I poured my heart and soul into this team for 17 years. And it was based off of a legacy that was just passed down from generation to generation. The mentality, the DNA of what makes that team so great. So my comments were reflective on me wanting to see that legacy continue to be passed down from generation to generation. And with that, it comes with hard work. It comes with focus. And so my hope is that that continues, because that is what makes the U.S. so special and so deadly. And that is what ultimately has won us championship.
If you notice on the bottom, they beat Vietnam 3-1, but then they tied the Netherlands and tied with Portugal. I mean, that's not really
Yeah, like I said, they didn't really dominate the whole group stage, and now they're going in the round of 16 to play Sweden, and Sweden's no pushover. So, I think the U.S. has their work cut out for them, and anything can happen. And I can't see Sweden going in there as the favorite, and I think the U.S. is going in as the underdog.
You know what's interesting? I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I've been seeing some people say that they believe that the world is kind of caught up to the USA. You know how at one point they kind of caught up in basketball. It feels like they kind of have caught up in women's soccer, and that's what I feel like a lot of people are thinking about when it comes to the men's team. In a couple of years, that they're going to catch up to the rest of the world, and the men's team is going to be tops with Weston McKinnon and Gio Reyna and those guys. That they're going to catch up at one point. Well, it kind of feels like the rest of the world, huh? Who?
And Pulisic, yeah.
I don't know who that is. That guy that warmed the bench in Chelsea. Yeah, that guy. Sure. But they it feels like the rest of the world is kind of catching up to Team USA when it comes to women. So I mean, they jumped out. It's always been them, Germany, and China, I believe. And it kind of feels like everybody else is starting to catch up a little bit.
No, Japan's been there.
Japan's been there.
Japan.
You just saw Jamaica just advanced in the World.
Well, they upset Brazil.
Yeah, like there's some talent there.
But don't count out the Frenchies. Yeah. The coach that had the Saudi Arabian team that shocked the world last World Cup for the men's World Cup is coaching the French girls. So that guy knows what he's talking about. He definitely knows the game. And if he can get these ladies firing, I think France is definitely one of the favorites.
JC, anything? What did you think about what Carli Lloyd had to say after sleeping on it?
I mean, of course, she got yelled at, right? And she had to
no, you know what's funny? She even went on Twitter and she's like, "I'm not apologizing, by the way. Don't think I'm apologizing." Like, yeah.
And she just had to make her rights on the media standpoint. But when it comes down to it, I mean, she hit it right on the nose, right? 17 years. I think she said that she poured her heart and soul into this team. And I mean, I'd be pissed off too if I were her. I mean, you put in all that work, 17 years, and to go ahead and tie and then really advance the group because of a technicality, not because you dominated, is probably like the worst part of it for her, I feel like, because every time I remember them playing when Carli Lloyd was on the team and a few other players, they were first of the group. It was either first or nothing. Like there was no room for second and no technicality advances. So I see where her frustrations are, and she has every right to say that, and that's part of it. And you have to maintain that standard in order to go ahead and continue your game and stay at an elevated level. And, last World Cup, it wasn't the best performance when it came to a women's national team. So, I can see where her frustrations are building because, Portugal essentially dominated the bigger part of that game, and they really took it to them. And, when you're an ex-player and you're just watching and you're helpless, you're going to say some things, but I think she has every right to say what she has to say.
Netflix, you guys should hire me because I have your next 30 for 30. I would love to see Abby Wambach, Carli Lloyd, like a 30 for 30 on those USA women's teams. Like, I bet you, because Wambach was a beast. Carli Lloyd obviously was good, but I love to see a 30 for 30 on those teams. those teams that went and won and stuff, like there had to have been a lot of like alpha female kind of like back and forth in the locker room. Like, there had to have been some beefs, some not so friendly words spoken, like especially the way she did it right now. But see, this is my problem. So when you hire a former player to come on as an analyst, like you want, okay, tell us the truth. Like, how did this happen? How did that happen? But then when somebody like Carli Lloyd comes out and gives her full, like, hey, this is soft. Like, you guys should have done this, and that. Oh, then she has to come out and not apologize, but like kind of backtrack a little bit. No, like that's what, if you don't want the ex players coming out and speaking their minds, then don't hire them. Hire people like me. Hire other people that like have never been in the locker room like that and felt that at an NFL level or at a professional soccer level. Why do you want the athletes there if all they're going to have to do is backtrack and apologize or not apologize, but have to say, I was a little heated, but obviously I just care about no, like she said it. Like, there's no apologizing. She came out, she said it, and that's it. Like, there shouldn't be any backtracking. Just my opinion, but that's why they get hired. They get hired because they've been there before. You want the spark. I mean, I remember Landon Donovan was critical of Team USA when they didn't make the World Cup in 18. And I remember he had to backtrack too because he had said some stuff about I think Klinsmann was still the manager in 2000.
And you don't even have to go that far back. I mean, this last World Gold Cup, I mean, there was a lot of criticism, right? It wasn't just Donovan. Saying a few choice words and multiple people, ex-players, Alexi, every single time he can.
Well,
he's going off on his
rant. Alexi needs to lower the pom-pom sometimes. He's
he dropped some statements here and there. When he dropped the ball, so it's all just part of the show.
I completely agree, but it's like, if you don't want them saying that, then don't hire them. Like, what the hell is the point of hiring them if you're
the federation had been the ones that made that call and probably called her, said, "Hey, we don't need a distraction. Definitely not going into the round of 16. Can you make a statement, backtrack some of these comments, and we'll deal with it internally." But I mean, if you brought a Megan Rapinoe in there, she's the one that's supposed to be the one that's been there, done it, has the experience. Show that leadership and as to why they brought you there. Don't go out there and enable this behavior when you haven't won anything. I understand a Jamaican team that not only had to start a GoFundMe to get to the World Cup and pay for their expenses that way. They upset Brazil. They made it for the first time in the round of 16. That's historic, and that within itself, I get it. You should celebrate that. But a team like the United States that's been there and done it on several occasions should be the team that other teams look up to and be like, hey, look, they just won or they just went through the next round. No one's celebrating. On to the next game. All of our focus should be on winning the World Cup. And, if this is the type of behavior that we're seeing from them, who knows if they're all committed? Because I'll tell you this, and I don't want to make it about men and women, but if that was the men's national team doing that, celebrating in that way when they barely squeaked by, just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, that was the point I was going to make. It shouldn't really take away. I mean, you put the results were up there, right? For the people that are just listening. They won one game. They won one game.
Vietnam. Which, all due respect to Vietnam,
exactly,
and they only won that 3-0. Like, that should have been a lot more.
They were on the back foot versus the Netherlands, right? They were playing catch up, and during the Portugal game, they weren't dominating. Portugal was dominating. They were playing their game the whole first half. Second half, same thing. USA had a few moments, right? But like Carli said, player of the match for USA team was the post. They was there, they were done. Like deer caught in the headlights, and it wasn't the quality game. It's not the quality, football you see from a USA team, and put the criticism aside. They're not playing quality football, so that's really where it's all stemming from. And when you see Carli's frustrations, it's coming from the quality of play. They're not playing up to the standards that they set forth, and now it's almost one of those moments where you kind of feel like, hey, whatever happens type deal, right? We're just kind of here to come and play and see what happens instead of coming in with a mentality to win the cup.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, I think the U.S. right now is at the point where they could get knocked out by any team. Like Eddie said, like Sweden is.
Sweden's the favorite going into that game. I don't think the
Yeah,
U.S. is. Absolutely not.
yeah. So I mean, they could get bounced out at any. I mean, anybody can get bounced out at any time, but like, I don't think the U.S. has ever been as vulnerable in women's soccer as they kind of are right now.
Especially not in recent years, no. I don't
And
think
you know what? They
yeah.
had a better. I think they had a better manager. Back when they were when they won those World Cups. I remember what was her name?
I know her face. I just don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
remember
her
her.
name. But they beat Japan for that last World Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember her name, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know who I'm talking about. Oh, Jill Ellis. Jill Ellis was the manager when they won. She was I think Jill Ellis was she has something to do with San Diego FC. I just can't remember what it is. Or Wave. But yeah, she was the right manager. That's the thing. Can you manage all the personalities and all that on the team? And that's what some managers can do. That's what some can't. And it's going to be interesting to see what Team USA does moving forward. But I think they've been put on notice, to be honest. I mean, when somebody like Carli Lloyd comes out and criticizes you, like, you better either put up or shut up, or you could have somebody in the locker room.
They don't win, heads will roll. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah, but like
simple.
I bet you there's somebody in the locker. What does she know? This and that and that. Like, like certain player could be doing that. But we'll move on to something else. Good discussion there. European teams wrap up the USA tour. There's been a lot of really good teams here. Manchester United, AC Milan, Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona. A lot of teams come and do the USA tour. Others go to Japan. Others do like an Asian tour. So Asia tour. So I honestly, I hope they continue these tours. I think they're continuing more and more as the World Cup comes. But Eddie, give me one matchup that you'd love to see in the U.S. Maybe in the future that you'd be like, you know what, I'm going. Like that has to be. I have to go watch this.
Man, I want to be selfish and say I want to watch a Champions League match here in the United States, but I know the logistical side of it and what these teams go through year in and year out, that maybe it's not feasible, or maybe it's not in the best interest of the players and these clubs to embark in such a journey like that.
Well, we've seen UEFA doesn't care about that. All they care about is this. So they'll do that at the dispense of the player. Because I mean, I've heard Modric and other guys complain like, hey, there's not enough time between the games and the league games and champions to rest up. Look, and they're like, oh,
I did like that the Premier League had essentially 6 teams come here to form a little league where they played each other, where it was Newcastle, Chelsea, Brighton, Brentford, Fulham, and Villa, and have them go at it for this USA tour to bring Premier League games to the United States. And we saw some good turnouts. I know I definitely saw the Chelsea versus Brighton game. I was definitely, back and forth. So if they can continue doing things like that, I think the fans will continue to show support. Obviously, wherever United goes, they're going to pull in a crowd, whether it's here in San Diego, Las Vegas, Houston, Dallas. But I think if they're able to bring some sort of official cup competition to the United States, I think it'd be interesting. As a fan, as someone who is more understanding of the players and the clubs and what they have to go through, throughout the year as far as traveling and logistical things, doesn't make any sense for them to come to the United States. But we'll see. We know that the FIFA president and the UEFA president almost think the same, in the sense that they want to bring Champions League games to the United States. So we'll see.
JC, I think you're thinking of a Man City match in the United States.
No, actually, Man U Real Madrid is actually, quality enough for me. Every time they come out, they really sell out. But for me, it's just one of those, who's going to play? right? When United came and played here in San Diego, you just saw fourth, fifth, sixth stringers, guys
That's
that are
why
really
JC
just
was a no-show.
experimental players, and it could go one of two ways, right? But when you have preseason games, you're going to see preseason talent, and you're going to see a lot of guys that you're probably not going to see play on your first team. It's just the moment to find out who's who, just like any other sport, NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, preseason games. Trial and error, find out who's ready to make that next step to come up to the first team. But that's the only 2 cents or my anti right against these games that I have is just who's going to play. Is I'm not paying over $100 for a ticket to come watch six stringers play, right? Yeah, it's the club, but I'm trying to see first team players. And if we can really get some quality players, make it worth the ticket you're going to be paying for, that'd be great. The United Madrid team did show some talent, some superstars playing on both sides, and that was awesome. But if they make it more of a regular thing, or the guys are more in rhythm, and it's a game that really actually means something, you're going to get a different quality game.
I know for preseason a couple of years, I think like 10 years ago, they did Man U versus Real Madrid at the Michigan Wolverine
that one was
Stadium.
It
crazy.
was about 100,000 fans.
100,000. It was Wayne Rooney against Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
The stadium was packed. I feel like if they did that at the Rose Bowl, you could definitely pack in the Rose Bowl, because Real Madrid played AC Milan a couple of weeks ago, and the stadium was almost basically full. But I mean, if you did a Man U or Real Madrid,
the Club World Cup's coming to the United States soon. So whether I think it's next year or 2025.
I think
So that should
2025.
be interesting. I mean, you'll see some teams on there that normally you wouldn't see go up against a Real Madrid, maybe a Mexican team, maybe a South American team. But I think definitely that's a good tournament to have here. Usually they go to the Middle East. Why not come to the United States and play that tournament here?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's funny. I actually I think pretty soon we're gonna get a game here, just because I remember they were trying to push for. I remember an announcement came before COVID that they were thinking about doing La Liga games in the United States. Yeah. And then obviously because of COVID, they were like, oh no, we can't do it. And then Real Madrid and Barcelona are like, wait, so you're gonna make one of us play in like New York or LA? Like, who's the home team? Who's the away team? Like, why would we have to give up an away or a home game? And then I think that's why the Super League was formed, to be honest. Like, I feel like the Super League was also to try and bring them out here and make more money. Because, like, you saw, I don't know if you guys saw, but, well, I mean, it's because I follow the Real Madrid Instagram page, but there was a lot of fans at their practices at UCLA. And I know that those guys, and I mean, you've seen Man U fans flood the Man U Wrexham game. That one was packed at the, whatever the hell this thing here is called, the Snapdragon Stadium. And I mean, like, you're good, like, even for their B squad, like, you're gonna get fans. Like, if you bring all those guys, if you bring the Onanas, the Casemiros, those guys, like, you're gonna pack the stadium. It's just, I feel like they're kind of biding their time a little bit, and they're gonna try and come back. But it's just a matter of like the home game, the away game. How can you settle that? Yeah.
Like, ideally, I'd want a Champions League final to be held here, right? Whether it's in New York City, whether it's in Los Angeles at the SoFi Stadium, but it doesn't make sense. It's a European competition. Why would they come play that final here? I think it's a disservice to the clubs and their fans, making them have to travel all the way over here in order to play that game. Yeah, I don't know. I think we could start with the Club World Cup, see how that goes. But clearly the interest is there from the U.S. fan, that they're trying to see these games. They will go out to see these games, whether it's the third squad, the second stringers, or a mix of both. The demand is there. So
you see fans are trying to go watch Messi Magic.
Stop.
I mean,
yeah, it depends what you define magic.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I went to go buy something for dinner. My mom was with me. She listened to 760 AM, and she's like, "Oh, I guess Messi's playing." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "These guys are completely like drooling all over him. They're like, 'Oh my God, Messi's so amazing.'" and I kind of say to her, and I was out in the street or whatever, and I say to her, well, yeah, what he couldn't do at PSG or in Europe anymore, he's doing out of the US. Some guy turns around, he still could have hacked it in Europe. I turned to him and I'm like, oh my God, what an idiot. Like,
Yeah, Neymar and Mbappe, and he couldn't do anything. Like, are you serious?
Oh my God, it's such a joke.
It
And that's
reminds
what
me of like when Ronaldinho came to Mexico and he was playing at Querétaro. Like, even Ronaldinho, he wasn't fit. He was partying every day. He goes in there, plays 10 minutes, scores a hat trick on America, or 2 goals on America in 10 minutes. I remember watching that game live.
I remember that.
Yeah, because Ronaldinho, even at that stage of his career, is still way better than 99% of the players playing in that league.
What did JC say last week? It's all like fundamental stuff that like you do. Like they're like in one of those, the other guy, I can't remember who he was running with. He pulls the Joseph Martinez or whatever. He pulls 2 guys to him. He just launches it over one of the guys. Messi standing right underneath and just freaking taps it in. It's like, well, dude, this is like the thing that you like when you play FIFA against your cousin and you're trying to mess with him. Like that's exactly what he's doing to score those goals. So it's like JC said, it's all fundamentals that the MLS players lack. And obviously Messi and Busquets and now Jordi Alba are taking advantage of it.
Because they don't lack the physicality.
Yeah.
So they do lack the technical side of it and the fundamentals of understanding positioning, understanding, your situational awareness. These are things that the MLS players, I would say, lack. They don't lack physicality because they can go up with anybody. But yeah, I mean, it's not, we both know that it's not a brute sport. It's more of a finesse sport.
Yeah. JC, anything to add to that?
I mean, the game today, right? Like everybody's losing their top, but it's just average play. I mean, Orlando versus Miami, they're going to try to make it a new Clásico right now because Messi's there, but whatever, man. I mean, I just see refs really kind of just getting too carried away and too influenced by whatever Messi wants. And, he clearly fouled the player today and no call. And then right after that, they get not even a half tackle, right? Just barely any contact, freaking flops, starts begging for a yellow, and the ref goes and does as he wants. So it's like, bro, like, are you really going to call the game as it is, or are you just going to get influenced? So, I still feel that the MLS, is in danger and referees for credibility when it comes down to these kind of games, because if they let themselves get influenced and they call the game, siding or favoring towards a Messi and, oh my God, we got to protect Messi. They gave him a cheap pen today. Like really, like the pen on that was just stupid. Like I don't even know. To not even go to the bar to just call the pen and be like, that's what it is, and you give a yellow as soon as the second half started, you're just really setting the other team up to win, and minus who was playing. But for these things to be happening this way, not a good look for the MLS and the credibility standpoint. Not hot.
What would happen if Ronaldo was out? Like Ronaldo would be shooting from 30 yards and nailing these goals. Like,
hey man, you saw Zlatan do it. You seen Vela do it. Monri,
by the way, I'm still on this that Zlatan had a way better debut than Messi did. Zlatan
absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the best debut any foreigner or any top quality player has had in the MLS in all of its existence. Kidding me? Coming 20 minutes in for the game to finish against your new rivals in LAFC and scoring the way you scored.
And you were down 3-1, I think.
Yeah,
they were down 3-1 and he tied it up and everything. But I remember he said, "You're welcome."
MLS got to be real careful, man. They really can't risk credibility.
Well, like I said,
keep one person happy.
Messi going to the MLS is going to have a bigger impact than Cristiano at the Saudi league, but Messi's also going to expose the MLS for the type of league it is. It's not a very technical league. It's still a growing league. It's a new league in a sense because it's not that old, but it's still lacking a lot of things where a lot of these players that are playing there don't lack the physicality, but lack the fundamentals and the real understanding of the game and things that are so simple, like being in the right position, doing one touch football, situational awareness, when to press, when not to press. These are things that they lack that perhaps in other leagues they don't, because the caliber of players is just a lot higher.
Completely agree. I think this is the play that JC is talking about. I only have pictures because I don't want MLS to come after us for it, but look at that.
how do you go and drop? Look, where's the ball? I mean, for
Nowhere.
our viewers not at home, the ball's not even in the scene, and the ball's somewhere else, right? Getting played right behind them, and dude drops the shoulder, right? All body goes leaning into the tackle, not a call. And then right after that, there's like a half tackle, I guess at best you could call it, and they go and give the guy a yellow card. It's just stupid. The
Look at
MLS really has to be careful with it
look
from a
over here to the
goalkeeping
right
standpoint.
side.
Yeah, and
Busquets
then Busquets
grabs the
comes
dude by the
over and
throat.
shoves a guy by his throat, and no call. The ref standing right there, but no call. But whatever. I guess Miami
That should be the
in
last
UEFA
one doing
loaner.
that. I remember at Clásico, someone supposedly grabbed him by the throat and he flopped.
Look at this guy. This freaking God.
Fight with the goat. Yeah, boy. All right.
Oh, these guys are funny. All right, let's move on. Now it is official, according to Fabrizio. Man United have a new striker, and Hojlund. JC, what do you think Hojlund brings to Man United?
Just raw talent at this point. You really just gotta wait and see what kind of gem he's gonna be. You've been lacking a striker for a long time. I really hope that he's just gonna stay match fit and really be available for the majority of the games, because right now that's the biggest problem we have at the striker position. Martial can't stay fit, and exactly, you don't even have one. You don't even have half a leg to stand on, and it's the worst part of it all. Martial, you keep waiting, holding your breath for him to go and play up to that potential, but it's not happening. It is not happening. Weghorst came in, and it was good to actually have somebody that's an actual striker play multiple games, but the quality was really lacking when it came down to what you need from a striker for a United team. And coach really just has to mold this guy up still to become the talent that's promised to be. And the price tag is what it is. So whatever at this point, we're gonna overpay for everybody and anybody at this point, and that's just gonna be whatever. I just hope that the guy shows up, scores goals, and can be available, because that's the biggest thing right now. We have strikers, but they haven't been available for years, and that's the worst part of it all.
And that leads us to our Dan and Dago question of the day, JC.
Oh, here you go.
He's wondering, how do you think Hojlund and Rashford are going to mesh up as a left winger and a striker?
Nothing to worry about there. We have another left winger on the come up who might just be taking over that place very soon. The coach isn't afraid to play the right guys at the right time. So, if Garnacho comes in and he steals the place from under him, it is what it is. The best players are always going to play under an Erik ten Hag team, and he's not scared to bench anybody. We've seen what happened with Cristiano. Nobody's bigger than the crest, nobody's bigger than the club, and I respect coach for it. And the best are going to play. Rashford's probably just going to get all defensive and
Coach begged Rashford to stay, and now he's talking about
now he's begging
Rashford. You didn't beg him to stay.
Where's it at?
You didn't beg him to stay. You didn't beg him to stay.
Where's it at?
Coach didn't beg him to stay.
Where's it at?
Okay.
Where's it at?
All right.
Where's it at?
So you didn't just sweet talk him and hype him up in the media.
Where's the begging?
Telling him that he wants Rashford to stay, that it's part of his plan.
What do you want him to say? To leave? You said the same thing about the hair. How'd that go?
Come on.
You said the same thing about the hair.
Ridiculous.
They don't mean nothing. You should know better. They're just words.
Eddie, what do you think Hojlund brings to the team?
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he has 9 goals and 4 assists last season for Atalanta.
That's fact.
So, yeah, he's a raw talent. He's not there to make it seem like, oh, this is going to be your savior. Like, no, he's still young. He's 20 years old. He needs time. He's not one of them generational talents like a Hojlund is with his natural scoring ability. Like, this kid might need a little bit of time to adjust. And the bad part about it is that we don't have another striker. He's literally the only striker that we have at the moment. Unless this Greenwood situation gets situated before the season starts, then maybe we could talk about rotating both of them. But I think that, he's a big body, has great speed, has a great left foot, can finish with both, actually. So I think the link-up play is the most important thing that he's going to bring to the team. Whether it's linking up with Rashford or Anthony or linking up with Sancho, Bruno's always going to find him. So I think, Eriksen as being his compadre, if you want to say so. Being from the same national team, things are doable. Things can happen for this kid if he works hard and sticks to what coach wants. But if he thinks that he's gonna just come in and dominate and not work hard, then there goes another 80 million down the drain.
Moving along now, Man City, by I guess the miracle of God, have signed. Damn, I always forget how to say his last name.
It's all right, champ.
How do you say his last name?
I don't know.
I think it's Gvardiol.
Huh?
Gvardiol.
Gvardiol. Yeah. There you go. He's obviously he's a defender from Leipzig. He made huge strides, obviously, for Croatia in the World Cup. Well represented. Fabrizio obviously is all on it. Our guy. He said the deal is for 90 million fee, set to become the most expensive center back ever. Man City just keep on spending all this money, but Eddie, what do you think about this move?
Where's this money? And then where's this UEFA investigation? And when's the Premier League going to do something about this? They're under investigation, then they're not, and they're signing players for almost 100 million. It's kind of ridiculous. I get it that they sold Mahrez to a Saudi team for 45 million. But really, other than that, who have they sold that they can spend this type of money again? Will this be a great signing? Sure. I mean, it's a big Croatian defender. He's fast, he's strong, he's smart with the ball. But I just, it's not more so for the signing about me. It's just more so everyone else is getting slapped with fines or they're getting banned from doing any transfers. But here's Man City going about business as usual, signing whoever they want for however much they want, and then being investigated, and then an investigation leads to nowhere. So what's going on there? We need more answers from the Premier League and the FA. This is ridiculous. I think, something needs to happen because there's no way that they should be allowed to continue to be making these signings and just get away with it, I guess. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
JC?
Yeah, I mean, same. Arsenal's on the same boat. I mean, they just spent 100 mil on Declan. They're gonna drop I don't know how much more on this new goalkeeper. It's just getting out of pocket. When are we really gonna start using and abiding by these financial fair play rules? Like, yeah, what, they won trophies and they get cash bonuses and they make money off of these things altogether, right? But come on, let's be real about this kind of things. And they've been spending for seasons, and they're not selling, and the books are upside down. So if United's going to get hit for something that happened years ago, we're in the now. Man City's over here got over 100 allegations, right? Where are we at? Juve got slapped with a fine. We got slapped with a fine. Everybody in the mom getting hit.
Think about it. Jack Grealish, 100 million. This guy, close to another 100 million. That's 200 million on two players in less than 3 seasons.
And they've been doing it.
Hojlund was 70.
Hojlund was 65 or whatever, 70. So it's almost 300 million.
Yeah.
No, the wage bill's going crazy, and then, I mean, they're winning the cup, but they're still spending more than they're bringing, than they're selling, and the numbers are upside down.
They're waiting. You know what they're waiting for, though. They're waiting for Pep to leave, and then they're going to get hit with the financial fair play, and they're going to be like,
Barcelona.
Yeah,
same as Barcelona.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And there they are. They're still signing players, and they're still getting Spotify deals. Here's a 3-month trial. You can stay with us, whatever, right?
JC, it's like you saw my rundown. You've activated the joke of the day. You can have weddings at the Camp Nou. You can play video games. Why? Because they need to raise funds. But Barcelona tried to sign Mbappe.
Hey, Mbappe said no thanks.
TikTok.
Mbappe said they can try and sign me playing FIFA because that's the only way they're going to sign me.
Here's the joke of the day. According to L'Equipe, it's a newspaper in France. It was Barcelona's offer to PSG of a Dembele, Gavi, and I forgot who else. They added somebody else to that. It was Rafinha. They tried to get Rafinha on that, and they were going to do Rafinha, Dembele, and Gavi for Mbappe. One, that tells you everything you need to know about what they think of Gavi. But what just quickly, what did you guys make of this?
$1 billion release clause, but here you go. Here you can have Gavi. Don't worry about it.
I feel
right?
like
Oh,
they played themselves on the back end. I mean, they offered Gavi and Dembele, and then what happened in the end? Dembele signed for PSG. Boom, right? So you thought you had something going. PSG pulled the Uno draw 4, right? MasterCard, and they're like, tell you what, for your funny antics, here goes this. We're taking Dembele to PSG, and you played yourself. Congratulations. You know,
congratulations.
The great DJ Khaled.
Exactly. By the way, Fabrizio tweeted this out, but this is what Xavi had to say. Dembele told us that he wants to leave and join PSG. We can't compete. PSG's bid is huge and out of the market. He spoke to Luis Enrique and Al Khelaifi. It hurts me because we took care of him to make him happy here, but we can't compete. He is leaving. You just tried to sell him off to try and get Mbappe.
Exactly.
But you guys took care of him, and you guys had him there?
The player whisperer.
Oh my! But it's like anytime Xavi gets involved with anything, it's like the player signs somewhere else, he goes somewhere else. Like it, and you know it's funny. Their team has stayed basically the same. Like they didn't really. Now they're losing them. Dembele had a nice goal the other day against Real Madrid in that friendly, and Dembele's kind of like. And JC and Eddie, you guys have both said it. Like Dembele is their only real offensive threat. If he doesn't play, and we've seen it before, that team doesn't mesh
the way how they struggled without him.
Yeah,
and that's saying a lot because Dembele struggles to be fit. So, you know, him not being there almost costed Barcelona, I think, the La Liga title last season. But you know, with that being said, I think it's funny that Gavi's our golden child, and we're gonna put $1 billion release clause on him, but you know what? If that means we can have Mbappe for one season, because he's definitely not going to resign with us. Yeah, we can have him anyway. You know, that's ridiculous, dude. But I think Dembele, whether he said it's for the project they have going out there or the money, doesn't matter. Like, I think he was already set that he didn't want to stay at Barcelona.
But he's saying they're going to pay me all, or it's a huge wage. They're like offering I think 60 or 70 million for him. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's not like the Neymar $220 million fee that they paid back in the day. It's like, yeah, exactly. Like this is doable. The only thing is Barcelona just can't. Like, if you see under the cracks, like their main guy, their chairman's always like, "Oh no, we're fine. We got this. We're fine." But then you listen to Xavi and you see all the moves that they kind of make or don't make, and you're like, "No, like everything's not fine. Like you're literally barely holding on to everything that you got, and yet you're still paying Lewandowski. You've just signed both Gavi and the other Pedri to big old contracts when they haven't even shown you what they have realistically." So I don't know. I think, and obviously last year they signed Kunde to a big deal. Araujo, so I don't know. That's definitely interesting. But you can tell that PSG are starting to make moves. Like they're not going to have Mbappe this season because Fabrizio also is reporting that Goncalo Ramos. You remember him? He came in for.
I remember because he benched Cristiano.
He benched Cristiano, and this guy
in the World Cup.
Yeah, this guy hit a hat trick, and then he tried it again, and it just didn't work for him. The guy completely disappeared against. Did they play Croatia? Yeah, they played Croatia, right? Is that who they lost? I can't remember who they. No, they didn't play Croatia. I can't remember who they lost to. But this is the guy that. But it's like you guys have said, like it's the fleece, another fleece.
Benfica, man, they just keep Benfica. Making people pay ridiculous amounts of money for players. And here's
Fabrizio's reporting it's $80 million package. Benfica literally is making like they just sold what's his name $120 million to Chelsea. JC Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez. Yeah, I mean, but you know, we've been talking about this for years. Who's Benfica going to hold ransom for next? So It's just what they do, and the fact that teams still fall for these kind of things. I mean, what potential does Goncalo Ramos really have? He had a hat trick on the World Cup, and then kind of what happened after that?
And
80
but
mil for what?
yeah, but it looks
It's
like
just a
they are
frustrating
loading.
thing
Yeah,
because you're paying players for potential, but it's like, bro, what potential?
it looks
What
like they are
potential?
loading up though, because like the right side, you don't have Messi anymore. Dembele goes there. The middle, I mean, I guess the middle's Mbappe because of the way they lined up, and now Ramos is in there. I'm wondering if they're gonna go get a left winger.
Well, no,
If
I think it's Ramos going through the middle. They're no longer having Mbappe in their plans, whether he
yeah,
stays
yeah.
or not.
But
Mbappe's
now,
out of the
what
picture.
what I was gonna say is Neymar. Like, is Neymar still in their plans
Yeah,
or?
Neymar's still in the. Well, Neymar said he's not going anywhere. He said he's staying at PSG. So it's going to be Goncalo Ramos through the middle, Neymar on one side, Dembele on the other.
I think Dembele and Neymar could be a lethal combo on the sides. Giancarlo Ramos, like to me, is just I
He
don't
had
know.
a good season at Benfica, but so did Darwin Núñez. And then Darwin
Yeah.
Núñez moved for big money to Liverpool. They didn't really have that impact that Jurgen Klopp was looking for. Speaking of another Benfica player, this is another player that's on the radar for this season to have a breakout season. So Benfica do it again. Rui Costa, a mastermind, what a masterclass, has brought in over $1 billion to Benfica in the last 10 years. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Speaking of that, speaking of another guy on the move, JC Lukaku, the moving truck is at it again. He's on his way
Juve.
to Juve for 40 million. 40
He's
million.
like officially the most expensive transfer player of all time.
He
I
has
think
to
now
be.
he's
That's
been, and now with
crazy.
this, is just putting them like over the top. Because Chelsea paid what, like upwards of 80. Inter paid a
United
good
paid like
amount.
100.
United paid 100. The guy's literally every transfer window, his stock stays high, and unfortunately, he doesn't bag the goals that you would expect for somebody with that price tag.
300. He's
But
been
that's
sold
the
for 370 million
combined
combined.
smoked.
But you know
That's
what's
the
kind of up there
problem.
too is Morata,
Doesn't
I
make
think.
sense. Yeah,
Oh
he's
wow.
coming close. He's coming close for sure.
But what do you think? Neymar's at 310. Cristiano at 247. Morata at 189. Felipe
Yeah,
There you go.
Coutinho at 180. Antoine Griezmann at 180. Kylian Mbappe at 180. Angel Di Maria 179. Dembele 170. About to be about 240 probably. And then Zlatan Ibrahimovic 169.1.
Wow.
So that's pretty interesting to say the least.
Yeah,
But Jason,
I
what
mean,
do you think Lukaku brings?
Juve's going through a rebuild right now. What
Yeah.
do they bring? I mean, he's not guaranteed goal scorer, right? Caught me wishing on a star come Champions League final to
And
bag a goal, or
and
at
you
least get
said
out of the way.
it's gonna
Get out of the way.
come down to him if he scores, and
But
he ended up missing.
He could have been that goal scorer. He had that one great season where he scored
It's
over
just that mental
35
portion.
goals. And then he said, I want to go back to the Premier League. For what, bro? You just found a place in the squad. You're back to the level you want to play at. You're guaranteed Champions League. You're a starter on this team. You're one of the focal points of this team. You had it made if you would have stayed at Inter and just played it out, but you got greedy. Chelsea kept calling. You went to Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel thought he could do something with you. You flopped. Then you went back to Inter crying that you never wanted to leave.
And then he does the interviews.
And then you said that you would never play for Juventus. And now you're playing for Juventus. So,
make it make sense.
I don't know. Max Allegri's not going to take any of his BS, though. I'll tell you that. If he starts acting the way he's been acting lately, yeah, go with the reserves, my guy. Go with the reserves. You're not playing for me anymore. But again, I mean, where's Vlahovic going? Is he going to PSG?
And that's part of it all too, because there's still conditions. Apparently, they want to do the Juve's fix on a player swap because they don't want to shell all the cash, so they want to dump off Hojlund and substitute with Lukaku. So they really are looking to shift and do the swaps and Hojlund over to Chelsea, and then Lukaku comes over this way to Juve.
Interesting. Let me show you guys.
Pending Chelsea, of course.
This
way.
let me show you this video from
Mm.
Carlos Vela.
Dios. Best Mexican player to play the game right there.
Not begun contract talks with LAFC nor any other club. Is there any thought that this could be your last year, or is it will definitely continue here or elsewhere?
No, I will play at least one more year for sure. Where I don't know. I have contract until December. Until December, I will be here for sure. But after that, I don't have any contact with no teams yet. So I can tell you right now where I will be. But I'm happy here. I'm doing my best, and until December, I will be working for this club. After that, we'll see where I will be. But for sure, will be something.
So
Okay.
it doesn't sound like retirement, I guess. It sounds more like
Yeah, who's trying to say he's gonna retire?
yeah, he's saying he's gonna leave soon. So let me change that to leave. Do you think he'll head back to Mexico, or do you think he's kind of
Maybe.
been out of there?
I think if he goes back to Mexico, for sure. I think in December, America's gonna try to make a play for him. But I think Carlos Vela should really go to Chivas. Pavlovich out there looks like he has a real thing going, a real nice project. I think it's every Mexican's boy's dream to play in Liga MX one day and raise a Copa there. So why not go to Chivas? All Mexican side. You can be a real focal point there. I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, either there or I'm a little biased, come to Cruz Azul and play with us over there. So I don't think Carlitos Vela is gonna retire after the season. Maybe he's holding out too because he's trying to get paid. He sees the type of money that's out there, and I think a player like him could still command that type of money. I think, with the upcoming team that's coming here in San Diego, why not wait out a year and then think about being the focal point on a new team here in San Diego? So there's a lot of possibilities. Maybe he's in contact with a Chucky Lozano, or maybe he's in contact with other Mexicans that are possibly thinking about linking up.
That's my thing. I wonder if El Chucky coming means that he is leaving, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll swap one for the other." Like,
well, I read those contract talks fell apart.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, well,
yeah.
Who knows what's gonna happen with that? Just because there's so many rumors.
I think Lozano stays at Napoli for at least another 6 months until the January transfer window, and then I think he's on the move.
Do you, JC? Do you think Chivas, or do you think he stays in the U.S.?
Well, I think the thing that was keeping a lot of players from coming back to Liga MX was the overall attraction. We come back to Liga MX for what? Play one cup? Copa MX, Liga MX. I mean, there's no attraction there. But now that you got, Libertadores playing, you got Leagues Cup playing, and a lot more competition, and it's just more than just one cup. You definitely are attracting a lot more players, and you could be the first one to start influencing these kind of moves of Mexican players actually coming back instead of going to the MLS, because that was the big attraction in the MLS, right? Of course, you get to be on, one of the greatest places on earth, right? in LA, and Disneyland right down the street and all that fun stuff. But Mexico really didn't have much to offer when it comes to the overall attraction of what it is. Like, yeah, you get to be home, but that's about it. You get to play in the half-ass cup in a really soft league overall, when it comes to a quality standpoint. You see them now in the Leagues Cup really struggling to keep up with a lot of the MLS players and a lot of MLS teams. And it's good in some ways because they did need to be humbled in a lot of ways. But now that you offer the ability to play a Leagues Cup, to play a Libertadores, it might be a better sign to come home and start developing and building some, quote unquote super teams and making the motherland great again.
Awesome stuff. Now let's end what's on social media. I hope you guys are ready for this one. I think this one's gonna knock your socks off.
I mean, really quick, I'd like to see Carlos Vela come back to the national team and play Copa America, if I'm being honest with you.
That would be sick, but
hey, Lord forbid they win, champ. We'll see what happens, right?
I mean, Jimmy Lozano might work some magic if he stays on as coach.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's the big at first.
Look at this.
Oh Lord!
It's a picture of
That is
Messi,
a quarterback.
Throwing a ball, and it says football is too easy for Messi. He's ready to play quarterback.
The guy's 5'6".
So
He's ready to play quarterback.
Bro. It's so cringe. Like, even if you're trying to be funny, like, Dude, you're just dumb at this point. 1.4 million views for a dumb joke. Like, come on. Make a proper use of your platform.
Who's the admin here? I need to find out because like it's always just it's Messi FC basically. Messi FC. Messi this,
Yo,
Messi that.
I love the
Like,
comments
So
though.
much for unbiased reporting.
They go Lionel Pessi's playlist. 1, I'm a fraud. 2, I need you. Xavi and Iniesta. Thank you, FIFA featuring Qatar. Rejected again featuring Laporta. New challenge featuring League One. Bottle job featuring Champions League. Robbery featuring Ballon d'Or. Carry me featuring Mbappe. Give me Ibar and 10 Ghost.
Give me Ibar.
It's a hot top 10 right there.
Oh my god, that is hilarious. Let me see what else we got here. Not you. Oh,
ESPN, step up your game.
this is a heartwarming moment.
I need some help.
You guys will love this.
There we go. Way to go, kid.
Marcus Rashford getting he says Rashford is my hero. And he gets the jersey from him.
Yeah, it's the most impact he had all game right there, was giving that kid that jersey.
That's cool, bro.
That was the only impactful thing he did all game.
We love to see that.
Yeah, like always.
We
like
love
his
to see
Instagram
that.
post. Useless on the pitch, but off the pitch. Count on him.
So I don't know if you guys saw this, but you know how PK is the owner of that Kings League or whatever?
Yeah, Kings League, yeah.
Yeah, he was in Madrid hosting a thing at the new Metropolitan Stadium, and he went to a nightclub after. And, you know, in Madrid, he's just loved. They started chanting Shakira in the club. He was trying to give a speech, and they were not letting him do it.
If I'm the DJ, I'm playing Hips Don't Lie, baby.
So he was just
PK. Wasn't he antagonizing all the Madrid people when he was at Barca? Come on, bro. Now you can't take it now.
He does it on social media. He still antagonizes people. Let me ask you guys right here. What would you guys do if you're Harry Kane? Would you force a move to Bayern Munich? Run down the contract, leave Tottenham and join Man U, or sign a new contract with Tottenham? Well, I know you guys aren't doing the last one.
I'm forcing a move to Bayern Munich.
JC?
Yeah, I think he's just got to stop being soft. I mean, he's got to do what he wants to do and stop being, so.
I think he's one of those guys.
I don't know. I don't get it. Like, what is he really afraid of? Like, he's not going to win anything at Tottenham.
I think he's like LeBron. I think he's like LeBron. He wants everybody to like him. He doesn't want to be hated. And I feel like he thinks
controversy.
Yeah, he thinks that if he leaves Tottenham, that fans are gonna get on him for it.
Look, you're 29 years old.
Your window's closing.
Your window's really, really getting tight. You need to win. You see what Robin Van Persie did, and he was at Arsenal, and he came to Manchester United to win some trophies. So I think Harry Kane, if you're Harry Kane, I think what makes the most sense is forcing that move to Bayern Munich, because right now Man United are not in the position to shell out another 100 million to try to get you to come to play with us. Ideally I would want him to go to United, but I think it makes a lot more sense for him to go to Bayern Munich. I think also going to Bayern Munich gives you a better chance of actually winning the Champions League this season, opposed to playing for Manchester United. I think Manchester United are not quite there yet to try and compete for the Champions League, possibly compete for the Premier League, but not the Champions League. But anyone's better off than Tottenham, unless you care about the Tiger Cup or whatever they just won. Richarlison went wild when they lifted up that Tiger Cup. But yeah, Harry Kane, start doing you, man. You got to win some trophies. And if you're a Spurs fan, and I know there's a couple of you out there listening, you can't be mad at the guy. He gave you what he gave you. He took you guys to a Champions League final.
More than enough.
He took you guys to a Champions League final. He got you guys touching distance from winning a Premier League. Just Pochettino bottled it. It's not on him, bro. It's not on him.
Yeah, I thought Tottenham celebrated that like Roma celebrated the Europa Conference League championship. Just shouldn't have done it. But
Relax, guy.
uh,
Relax.
there's been a little bit of a struggle from Jordan Sancho. Even right now, he seems to be struggling. And this is what Endin Terzic said about him. Not really. He was asked if he's surprised that Jadon Sancho is struggling after leaving Dortmund. He said, "Not really. It sometimes is a bit harsh if you see only the price tag. You also always have to see the age. And if a player's moving on with the age of 18, 19, 20 to clubs like Real Madrid with Jude or Man City or Man United, of course, it's a bit higher pressure than at BVB. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah,
I
I
just believe
mean,
it's part of the English hype. Like it's always the same thing. English players get overhyped. They, potential is just looking like another Dele Alli. I can't really tell you one English player that's really panned out that they hype so much the same way they do everybody. They're all just overpriced, overhyped, and they're good players. They're good players, but the hype is really what kills them. Price tags aside, it's just they sell you these guys to be the next, great hope, and the fix for everything and anything, right? But that's just the ultimate, downfall of an English player. I feel like when it comes to this modern day football.
mm,
Eddie?
I mean, it's true. I mean, you saw Vinicius Jr. when he was at Madrid. A lot of people were booing him. The kid
Whistling.
stuck to it though. So yeah, I get it. Jaden Sancho's still pretty young.
It just
But
sucks that they don't give these guys
you,
enough time. Like,
you can't keep making that excuse though, because it's you see Vinicius now. He's what is he? 20 years old now. He's
yeah,
one of the best players in the world. You saw Neymar at 18 years old was ahead of everybody at that age, right? Not even Cristiano Ronaldo at that age was as good as Neymar. I would say technically, I think Ronaldo still had to build himself to be a little better. So you've seen Wayne Rooney when he moved to Manchester United at 18 years old. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure to come in, especially for the
There's
price tag you
pressure,
came
but
in
they're
for,
soft.
120 million. I think
Players play the game. They don't even play the game.
stick to the fundamentals, Jaden.
That's all they gotta do.
Lastly, I thought this was pretty funny. I don't know how you guys are gonna see it, but here we go.
Uh-oh.
So it's a video with Florentino Perez, and he offered PSG 200 million for Mbappe a couple of years ago, and they laughed at him, or last year, and they said no. So now, obviously, with everything going on with Mbappe, him not getting taken to Europe and or to their Asia tour, now he's like lower the price, and like Florentino was mad, obviously, after last year, and he's like lower the price, and they're like 70. He's like nope, 25, nope, 5, and then it says free. And then he's like, nope, I'm not gonna even take him for free. And they give it's the dude from PSG giving him 200 million in a suitcase, and Mbappe and the Eiffel Tower, and Florentino just laughing. So it's basically he who laughs last laughs best. So I thought that cartoon was actually pretty funny. I guess it was made by a fan, and I thought it was pretty funny to share and kind of end the show with that. So
But yeah,
yeah,
I agree. I mean, that's just, greed. PSG really thought they had the whole world in their hands and they mismanaged it, and shame on them, They
but
really could have had their cake and ate it too.
you
Let the
said
kid
it.
go play football.
You said it last year though. You're like okay, you're re-signing him. Like he's gonna end up at Madrid anyway. Like you might as well just sell him now. let him go. He signs his new contract with Madrid. He does everything, and you get money for him. If not, it's going to come back and bite you. And now it's either at the point where it's going to come back and bite. He literally said he's not in Luis Enrique's plans. He plans on sitting out. If he'll sit out the whole year if they're going to do it, and he'll just sign for free in a year. So obviously this kind of come back.
Paris is really just shooting themselves in the foot, and they're really showing what they do to players when they don't want to be with them.
Yeah.
And, from a football standpoint or just a job standpoint, like for a job to hold you hostage because they want to and what they feel like, come on, man. Like if I'm a professional footballer and PSG comes knocking, yeah, I'm good.
And then I saw that report that supposedly Macron is going to get on the phone with Mbappe. I'm like, dude, that worked last year. That's not going to work this year. Like the dude's already made up his mind. Like he's like, I want to leave. I think place is terrible. I mean, well, I guess I'm thinking that either Hojlund or Kevin De Bruyne is about to win the Ballon d'Or.
No, you think they're going to win?
Right. All right. Yeah. Mr.
Y'all really think
over there.
Someone scored 12 goals
they're
last
give
season.
it to Mr.
4
Weeks.
Who's going to win it. They scored 12 goals, 10 of them penalties. I don't know what it was. You know who's going to win it, bro.
There's
I think I sent JC a reel of the Argentinian team winning that Loris team of the year award because they won the World Cup. But when Spain won it, they didn't win that award. When Germany won it, they didn't win that award. When France won it, they didn't win that award. But this Argentinian team is below, I would say, all those teams 100%. Won it. Come on,
but
man.
It's so funny because in every game, you can see a discrepancy. Like against Croatia, you saw
stupid. How do you get every penalty game? Every game?
Yeah.
How do you get a penalty?
Messi should have been sent off against the Netherlands.
Exactly.
Plain and simple. Wasn't sent off because his best friend, the referee that just retired this year, and one of the most corrupt referees in Spanish history. Yeah, man, it's ridiculous.
If he wins a Ballon d'Or, and no, you know why I don't think so.
Look, if he wins it, that's it. France football just lost the little credibility they have.
He would have to bring it to the United States, and I'm pretty sure
they're gonna give it to
would be like, no.
They care more about what happened in 4 weeks than a whole year.
Well, you remember what happened with the team of the who was coach of the year? It wasn't Ancelotti.
They're gonna give it to him.
It wasn't Courtois wasn't goalie of the year, and then player of the year wasn't Benzema. It was Messi, the damn coach from Argentina, and the goalie from Argentina. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. But
tell me you're biased without telling me you're biased.
Yeah. No, you're 100%. No, you're completely right. But we appreciate you guys so much for checking out another episode of Compas FC. Guys, we are a little bit less than we're about 9 days away from the Premier League kicking off. I know you guys are excited for that. So definitely we're almost there. The preseason is now over, so it's almost here, so that'll be some fun times. Folks, don't forget to check out everything else on Compas on the Beat network. Don't forget to check out regular Compas on the Beat this week. Gilbert and I get into the whole Sean Payton thing. Was it fair or foul that he went after Nathaniel Hackett and the Aaron Rodgers debate with everything going on there? Obviously, I give insight on what's going on with the Chargers side of things and Justin Herbert signing his new contract. Gilbert is doing his tour where he's gone to Raiders, Cardinals. So that'll be some interesting stuff. Don't forget to check out What's Up Bolts. We will be doing an episode pretty soon. And don't forget to check out everything else. House of Horns, Combat Compas. Don't forget to check out everything else. But we appreciate you guys so much for checking out yet another episode of Compas FC. We will be back next week to break it all down. And don't fall for the okie doke. The guy in Miami ain't doing anything special.
Don't be afraid. Leave your comment in the videos. It's all right. We'll take the hate. It's okay. Just don't have a messy profile pic and then leave a comment saying hater. Show your real face. It's okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. But again, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to be a compa, tell a compa, be a compa. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. We will be back next week. Have a great weekend. Thank you guys so much.